Welcome to today's meditation, breath meditation, on location in Frango Castello, Crete, Greece. So we have the castle behind us and the mountains, a fortress, and I figured we could visualize and see the enormity of the mountain behind us and focus on inhaling up the left side of that mountain, exhaling down the right side of that mountain, and then pausing the breath at the base. So if you can continue visualizing the breath this way, it'll help to calm our nervous system. So we'll inhale up the left, exhale down the right, and then pause the breath or observe the natural pause in between breaths, that prana, right? That before breath observance can happen at the base. So let's practice that a few times. Inhaling up the left, exhaling down the right, and then a pause, a natural pause or space or gap that sometimes becomes longer and longer the more we pay attention to it. The more we observe it, the more we notice it. Inhaling up the left, exhaling down the right, pausing or noticing the gap that happens along the base back to the bottom left corner. Inhale up the left, exhale down the right, pause at the center. And then just one more time, visualizing the breath. Inhaling up the left side, exhaling down the right side. And now in that pause, let's extend the exhalation. So give yourself that extra exhale so that we're fully emptying the lungs. And now we can introduce the apnea that will help to strengthen our pelvic floor. So in that apnea, we'll pause the breath for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now breathe naturally. Feel the whole abdominal wall, rib cage, chest space puff open with your breath. Exhale as it empties. And let's inhale again as deeply as we can. Exhale. And then exhale a second time. And now let's include the apnea. No breathing at all. And just being aware of what's happening in this region of your body, from the end of the breastbone to the navel point. Hopefully feeling this drawing up or this pulling up in the no breath sequence. And then breathing when you need to breathe. So this helps pelvic health, this helps our spine health, this helps bladder incontinence. So this helps to strengthen our innards just by pausing the breath and being sure that the lungs are fully emptied so that there's space for the pelvic floor to rise up to become stronger during that pause of breath. So there's no inhale, no exhale happening, and the lungs are completely empty. So let's practice that one more time. Inhaling deeply, exhaling. Exhale the second time just to be sure that there's space here now, right? So that the lungs are completely deflated, and now pause. Breathe when you need to breathe. I counted roughly 10 seconds. If you feel like you need to breathe at 5 because tension is being created in the body, allow yourself to let go of that breath and then just catch the next one. Inhale. Exhale. Exhale again. And now pause for 10. And now breathing fully and completely, I want you to observe in the next apnea what you're feeling between the end of the breastbone, the navel point, and maybe even lower into the hips. So what I notice is that in that pause, as there is no inflow and outflow of breath, I start to notice that the inner musculature starts to crinkle up, almost like a sheet of paper is being squeezed or crumpled. So let's try it again and just become very aware of what you feel in this particular region of the body during the apnea or during the pause of breath. And very, very important to also notice if the backside's trying to help you, if the perineum is trying to help you. So we want to try to be as relaxed as possible in this region so that we can just feel the pelvic floor being pulled up during that pause of breath. Here we go. Inhale deep. Exhale as much as you can. Exhale again. And now pause for 10. So that time, because we've practiced a few rounds, I started to notice a contracting a bit lower, below the navel point, also being pulled up towards the lungs. So one more round, and just be very aware of what's happening in your whole torso space, from the pubic bone right up to the end of the breastbone now. Second exhale, push out that last bit of breath so that you're ready for that longer apnea now. So in that last bit of apnea, I started to feel a tension rising through the shoulders, and I probably could have cut it off at about the 13-second mark instead of holding it for another 2 seconds. But I didn't feel anxious, so that's why I continued to pause the breath. So just be aware of that. If you start to feel anxious during that pause or the rising of the tension in the body, then you're just going to let the breath go and breathe, right? So minimum of 5 seconds, maximum to 15 seconds. And just play with how long you can stay in that apnea without feeling anxious or feeling like your tension is rising in the body. So let's just breathe naturally now. And now let's incorporate some sound vibration with our breath. So we'll use now the bumblebee breath. So in bumblebee breath, what we can practice is bringing our fingertips along the bridge of our nose, just like this, so that your index fingers just come to the inner eye indent, and then thumbs can cover the flap at the ear. As we exhale, we can create a buzzing, just letting the vibration come from your navel point and out through the throat. Just to soften and soothe the nervous system now after those apneas and hypooppressives. So you let that buzzing vibration happen just on the exhale phase of your breath, and this is known as Brahmari, bumblebee breathing. And if you've noticed that calmed your whole system, please continue with that for 10 more exhales, listening to the sound of the vibration that you're creating through that exhalation phase. Thank you for joining me.